This year allowed us to earn 13% and as high as 20% returns on our investments.
A gain on Wall Street is only on paper. With Crash Proof, your interest is credited to the account, it becomes part of your principal, and it never goes backward.
There is a proven path to market-like returns without any of the risk. Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show with Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman today at 11 a.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Pat Callahan.
A legitimate closer and relief pitcher, Johan Duran. What a name. Sounds frightening. Throws 103 miles an hour. Wow, what a difference maker. Man, I'm excited. And I know Phillies fans all over the Delaware Valley feel the same way. So, let's play ball. Well, good morning. You have tuned into... Wait a second. This is not Sunday morning at 10, the Barry Sable Show with friends. This is Uncle Barry sitting in at 8 a.m. Saturday morning show for Pat Callahan. For God's sakes, Pat, how do you do this show live so early? Milkman, newspaper guys are not even working the streets this early. Well, I'm in studio with my producer, Kirk, on the other side of the glass. You're up early as well. How you doing, my friend over there? Are you awake? Because we have a show to do.
Yes, sir. I'm awake.
You are?
Yep.
Did you have coffee?
Yep.
All right. Did you have breakfast?
Yep.
All right, then let's go to work. So, I love telling people I'm from Philly all the time, everywhere I go, home of the cheesesteaks. So many great times, fond memories, so many wonderful things to do in the city. So who is better to discuss Philly with me, my buddy, a former member of the Action 6 ABC News for over 30 years. He roamed the streets of the city of brotherly love from dusk to dawn, bringing us news into our homes. Who is better qualified? I don't know anybody better than him. Philly. Dan Quellier, are you up and having your usual cup of coffee? If so, good morning. My friend, how is your special brew? And how about this closer, my friend? Tell us.
I tell you what, Barry, that was electrifying, man. I was just in awe watching that, seeing the lights all turn red, and then seeing all those tarantulas on the screens on the big screen.
Yeah.
And this guy is just something else. But we needed this closer in the worst way.
Yep.
And, you know, as I said to you the other day, what has made this happen, Barry, are the Philadelphia fans, fanatic fans, because they're the ones that drive management. When something's not right, when something's not going the best way to make this team number one, which, by the way, they are number one in the National League East, they will push the buttons until the management reacts, whether it be the Eagles, whether it be the Phillies, they're there. And so I give ultimate credit to the Philly fans for being as fanatic as they are to push the buttons to get us people like Tarantula. Oh, man, I'm very excited now. I'm very excited, but I'm not going to, jinx anything by getting ahead of my neighbors. Let's win it. Let's get to Red October, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're playing good ball. They're ahead of their division, which is a good sign as far as I'm concerned. And, listen, summer's starting to close in, my friend.
Night against the Rangers.
Yes, exactly. Did you watch last night by any chance? Good ball game.
Off and on, yes.
Good ball game. So listen, let's talk a little bit about Philly. As you go through, there's so many people that talk negative of Philly. I said to myself, no, you're going to give us the real scoop. Why don't you start and tell us what is actually happening in Philadelphia nowadays?
Let me tell you something, Sable. I covered the city from its best times to its worst times.
Yep.
And I think what I saw during our worst time was during the COVID situation, which was strange to everyone, man. That was a different feel to see our freeways completely empty. And you know how the Schuylkill Expressway usually is, packed. It's hard to get anywhere. But it was eerie. There was no traffic. You go to Center City, there's nobody there.
Yep.
And it was just an eerie time. But what I saw happen, slowly but surely, a lot of people from metropolitan New York started to move to Philadelphia because it was so expensive to live in a city like New York.
Yep.
And then with all their obtrusive regulations and what was going on out there, when I was interviewing people doing Man on the Streets, I noticed, and I asked, we always ask, where are you from? What part of Philly are you from? And I hear, I'm a recent transplant from New York. Oh,
Yep.
really? What brought you here? And I would hear their stories. And now, Barry, what you're seeing a lot of new development happening in Philadelphia. Have you noticed that?
Of course, that's what I was going to bounce off of you next. If you drive down Columbus Boulevard, obviously the old Delaware Avenue, or Spring Garden, D.C., there are so many new apartment buildings. Where are all these people coming from? Philadelphia is electric. Donald Trump says the country's on fire. Well, let me tell you something, my friend. Philly is on fire, right or wrong?
You're right, and it's long overdue. Philadelphia was like the neglected stepsister that always got passed by. In fact, there was a time when there were no exit ramps or entrance ramps to I-95 when you passed by Center City. It went right from New York and on, past Philadelphia. It was crazy.
Yep.
And little by little, we started seeing Philadelphia being recognized as a great place to be, a great place to live and work. And you're seeing that turnaround right now. And what you're seeing with all this development, Barry, is that people are starting to appreciate Philadelphia as that diamond in the rough. You ever hear that saying, diamond in the rough? And
that was my tagline, Sable Diamonds, Barry Sable, the diamond in the rough. Go ahead. You claimed that from me.
I stole your line.
Yes, you did. Anyway, plagiarism. You could get 2 months in jail for that. Go ahead, my brother.
But you know what I would like to see more of? I'd like to see our river development. I'd like to see more development on the river. I know we've seen pockets here and there.
Yes.
But that's like a wasteland out there. And I said, man, if we developed our waterfront like they have in Boston and other cities, Baltimore, what an amazing that's a treasure, Barry.
Dan, how do you figure that hasn't been done? As you know, at one time,
Barry,
it's going back.
There was so much politics going on in Philadelphia with this pay to play and all these schemes and stuff that was going on. You had to pay somebody under the table in order to get a deal to make this happen. And so we had a lot of that shady stuff going on. I am thinking now that we're in a new era where that, I'm praying and hoping, is over, and we're not going to see that because there are eyes watching you. People have noticed, corrupt politicians have noticed. The feds are there looking at you every step of the way. There's somebody watching you.
Yep.
Watch what you're doing.
Yep.
And so hopefully, Barry, we have crossed that bridge now, and now we're going to see some development happening in our great city on the waterfront.
Yeah, I think so. As you know, back in the early 90s, I was a partner in Rock Lobster, and there were a few other clubs as well. The city was buzzing at that time, especially during the summer. My God, on a pier, we would have 2,000 people or even more on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. It was really something. And all I could tell you is that, what bothers me slightly is that the highways in Philly, how are they going to handle all this traffic, for God's sakes? 95, the Schuylkill Expressway. Last night you said something to me, and it really hit home. And you said, I wish that we had highways where you had one highway on top and one underneath. I mean, that's an ingenious idea. 95 to me, the Schuylkill Expressway, 76, was built with no thought in mind. It was all outdated before the darn thing was even built, Dan.
Right. That is so true about the Schuylkill Expressway and even the Blue Route. Even the Blue Route was outdated and obsolete even before it opened. And the problem being that, first of all, we've had a lot of problems. Trying to build a Schuylkill, when they started building that way back in the 1960s, there was lawsuit after lawsuit about, you cannot take my land, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And it took all these lawsuits to finally get something built, and we have now the Blue Route. And we didn't even have the Vine Street Expressway. When I first moved to Philadelphia, we did not even have a Vine Street Expressway. Yeah. I was blessed that I was here for the opening of the Vine Street Expressway. I covered that. I did a report about it. I was standing right in the middle of the Vine Street Expressway with no traffic. It hadn't even opened yet. That was a blessing to finally see one part of the city, Schuylkill Expressway, connect with another part of the city. And the same thing with the entrance ramps and exit ramps in Center City for I-95. I was able to do that story. And the opening of the Blue Route. Let me tell you something funny about the Blue Route. When it first opened, I was assigned to go do a live report and see how long it would take me to get from one side of the Blue Route to the other. And they put me in a news van, and I was driving the whole thing. And then when I made the whole thing, Jim Gardner put me on the 6 o'clock news, and he asked me, hey, what was it like on the Blue Route? And I said, well, you know what? There's no traffic because it hasn't opened yet, but it took me only so-and-so time to get from one side to the other. He said, wait a minute. It took you how long? And I said, I can't remember exactly what the time was. He says, the speed limit is so-and-so, so that means you were speeding.
Unbelievable. Listen, Dan, I want you to know.
That explains why there's a state trooper parked behind the news van right now, which there really was.
Yep.
But he was just there to say hello. But no, it's been a pleasure to cover these things. But here's the problem, Barry. Our freeways are antiquated, and yes, they need some attention. There have been proposals made over the years that I covered about doing a double-decker on the Schuylkill, where the traffic on the bottom would go one direction and the traffic on top would go another. But they thought, and I saw this being done.
It's a brilliant idea, incidentally.
They did this in San Antonio.
Yes.
They did this in San Antonio, and it worked. They have a double-decker freeway. They're bringing the traffic from the top going into the city and the traffic on the bottom going out. But PennDOT folks, they told me for years, the cost is prohibitive. We cannot do it. So then SEPTA came up with a proposal. Why don't we build a transit system from Philadelphia to the King of Prussia area?
Yep.
And that idea was floated for a while, but I don't know what happened to the idea. I wish they would, come up with something, because you're right. And it's only going to get worse with more and more people moving to Philadelphia, as they are, which is why you're seeing all this construction going on of all these apartments. It's going to get even worse, Barry.
Listen, I forgot to announce, yes, we are streaming live on YouTube. Gary wants to know, will I be in studio tomorrow live? Yes, I'm coming in live, just so you know. And 855-839-1210. Let me say it again slowly. 855-83, what's the heck? 855-839-1210. If you want to speak to Dan, forget about me. I've got a special guest on the line. Feel free to call in. Let me ask you a question. We talked the other day about SEPTA in this city. What are your thoughts are going to happen there? There's a lot of money that is being pulled from that. SEPTA is in trouble, not just in Philly, but all over the country. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm very nervous about it for the sake of a lot of people who depend on mass transit in Philadelphia and depend on SEPTA to get to and from work and other places. If they don't get this funding, there's going to be some drastic cuts to the SEPTA transit system. And we don't know yet where that ball is going to drop, who's going to be most impacted. But I can tell you, it's not going to be a good thing, Barry. It's not. So we gotta have something. Something's got to give. We got to work this out, because there's a lot of people who are going to be impacted by these deep cuts that they're talking about right now. Yep. And it's supposed to happen like in a couple weeks. So, it's a major story, and we need to keep our eyes on that.
Yeah, it's funny, Dan. This passed my desk. The state's Commonwealth Court unanimously, can't get the words out, ruled 7-0 this morning that former Mayor Jim Kenney didn't have the power 4 years ago to replace Columbus Day, an official city holiday, with Indigenous Peoples Day. Thank God that was reversed, my friend.
Oh, my
what
God.
the heck?
Thank God. Barry, like I said, remember I said during the COVID thing, a lot of crazy stuff was going on, and we had all these crazy policies, and then they put a big square over the statue it was embarrassing. This is the city where freedom was found, and you're taking away our freedoms? I mean, what is this? I mean, Christopher Columbus is a major entity in the Italian, not just among Italian Americans, but all of us.
And who did he bother, for God's sakes? Who did he bother?
Right.
Why were the Dems and the left so concerned about him? Oh, my God, Dan. Listen,
because
go ahead.
They are, Barry, don't get me started. These people are very skilled.
I want to get you started. That's why I have you this morning. You're all revved up. I want to get you started. Get started. Go ahead. Give it a shot.
These people are so skilled, and they seem to be practiced at the art of skillfully accusing their opponents of phobias and racism and creating then a diversionary tactic to avoid accountability, and they don't have to answer. They just accuse you of being a racist for this or for that or for this, or you have some kind of hoax phobia. No, you guys are the ones perpetrating hoaxes. Look what you did with Trump, with all of these things that you did for him about this and that and documents and all this made-up crap, the Russia Gate thing that we paid $40-something million to investigate, which we knew was bogus. And after all that money was spent, they found nothing. And now, fortunately, thankfully, the people that were behind this hoax are finally going to see a court. And a grand jury's been impaneled. We don't know where this grand jury is going to be, but I hope it is in some jurisdiction where they don't let Democrats go scot-free. Whenever it's a liberal, and prosecuted in Washington, D.C., they always seem to get away. So I hope it's another venue, somewhere like maybe Florida, where we can see some real justice against these evil monsters that created that situation, Barry.
We're going to get to this after the break. You are listening to the Pat Callahan Show. Uncle Barry with Dan Quayle are sitting in. We'll come back on the other side of the break with Big Al from Mullica Hill. Don't go anywhere.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.
Tune in tonight starting at 7 p.m. for the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party. Live from Adelphia in Deptford, the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party is broadcast exclusively on 98.1 HD2 and Bob Pantano Dance Party Radio on the Odyssey app. Driven by Echelon Ford.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stop to opt out.
You work hard for your money, so why let traditional banks hold you back? At Current, we're flipping the script with banking that keeps up with your life. With Current, your paycheck does more. Need money before payday? Access up to $750 with a paycheck advance if you qualify. No credit check, no hassle. Also, the Build Card makes it simple to build credit with no annual fees or hidden traps. Members boosted their credit scores by more than 80 points after just 6 months. Get ahead. Get Current.
To get started with Current, text SPEND to 323232. That's SPEND to 323232. Text SPEND to 323232.
Banking services provided by Choice Financial Group and or Cross River Bank, both members FDIC. Paycheck advance provided by Fineco Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Product eligibility, availability, and performance may vary and are subject to change at any time. Using your credit card responsibly may allow you to improve your credit score. For details on cost, terms, and conditions, visit current.com or call 1-888-851-3177.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Free speech in Philly on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
the Pat Callahan Show. We miss Pat. He's the best. Listen, you are listening to Uncle Barry sitting in for Pat with Dan Cuellar. Big Al, you're live on the air with us. Chime in, my friend.
Uncle Barry, how you doing?
I'm hanging, my brother. So good to hear your voice.
To fill in for a friend of ours.
Yes. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Talk to me.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on my way to Vineland to fill in for a friend of mine to do a radio show. But when
Sick as a dog, Steve DiOrio. I'll say it for you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. When you and Dan were talking about developing the riverfront over in Philly, the first thing that came to my mind was Baltimore, where the aquarium was, the cheesecake factory, and all these other businesses. They're closing down because of the crime, because of all the trouble that they're having. Will the same thing happen in Philly?
Well, you know what's funny, and we could bounce this off of Dan. You know, I did a little homework because I knew this topic was going to come up, and it's a negative on Philly. And Mark Squilla says, we're hearing that they're starting to feel it's getting safer. I see that the feeling there, but it's going to take time to change the perception. So I did a little homework on numbers, and the numbers of crime and homicides, boys, seem to be less in Philly. Dan, do we still have a big stigma, just like the Snowball Day, where Eagles fans and Philadelphia fans have that stigma? Oh, we're rotten people. Dan, weigh in.
It does take a while to get rid of these stigmas, Barry, and the same is true for New York City. I mean, they've seen a significant drop in their crime as well.
Yep.
But it's going to take a while before you convince people to say, you know what, I might want to go into New York to enjoy some of the sights and sounds over there, or the same in Philadelphia. You know what, I've heard a lot of people tell me, man, I don't want to go into Philadelphia after seeing all that stuff and somebody being stabbed here or something happened over there. I don't feel safe. And you have to hammer home that if you commit a crime, you're going to do the time. Yeah. And until you send that strong message to people who are doing evil stuff, you're not going to convince people to go back into Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They got to feel safe. They got to feel safe to have some place to take their families, to come out there and enjoy the life, the life in Philadelphia that a great city like Philadelphia has to offer.
Yep.
When you get rid of the criminal element, or at the very least send a strong message that you're not going to tolerate it. And we've had some great police commissioners who have enforced the law, but they come and they go.
Yep.
I have some optimism with this latest administration that something will be done.
Yep.
But let's see. Let's see what happens.
Big Al, incidentally, my mom would slap me from heaven if I don't introduce you to Dan Cuellar. Say good morning to him. And my question to you is, both of you
Good
guys.
Good morning, Dan.
Huh?
Good morning, Al.
Is Al still with us?
Yes.
Listen, I want to
Dan.
weigh in. I want to lead out with you, Big Al. What are your thoughts on homelessness? We have a lot of problems in Philly with that situation. Do you have any idea? Because I know you're involved with kids with drugs and things of that nature. So let me bounce it off of you and Dan. How do we try and solve homelessness in a lot of our major cities?
I'll tell you how, Barry. Stop paying for the illegal people that are in this country and use that money for the citizens of our country,
Okay.
and that will correct the problem.
Yes, now you're on to something. Dan, your thoughts?
I agree. You know, it is such a shame that we're seeing our military veterans out on the streets of our city, not just in Philadelphia, but across the country, living out on the streets, under bridges, etc. While meantime, all these people who are not even citizens of the United States are getting all these freebies. Why? And we all know why. It's with this redistricting stuff that we're seeing, this latest gamemanship that's happening with Texas. Suddenly all the Democrats are screaming because they know how important all these districts are. If you're counting with the census, by the way, I don't know if you've heard the news, but Trump wants to conduct a new census where they do not count illegal immigrants as part of the count. How ridiculous is that they're counting illegal immigrants as part of a district so they can decide how many Congress people are going to be in that district? And, by the way, electoral college votes. How many electorals do you get?
Yep.
It's all based on the census. So this is important. This is very important. But, Big Al, you're absolutely right. We should be taking care of our own citizens. And then after we take them off the streets and give them a place to live, then we can start worrying about people in other parts of the world. But until that time, our focus should be our own citizenry, especially our military vets.
Big Al, before I leave you going, I know you. Hold on one
run
sec.
now.
I know you're sitting in for Steve DiOrio, and I want to say Cruising 92.1. Tell me, what will you be discussing today at 9 o'clock?
Well, today what we're going to be discussing is a lot of the violence that's been going on with big balls getting beat almost to death. The different violent things
that
that
was
are happening.
terrible.
Also, at 10 o'clock, Barry, I have a guy on that's known as the perfect poop guy who is saving lives with his poop. They do what is called a fecal transplantation, and it cures C. diff and a few other ailments.
Good for you. Listen, I just want you to know you have been in my heart for so long. I love when you call in. Your voice is electrifying. You are doing great things for the community, Al. Stay tuned. We'll talk soon. Dan, go ahead, Big Al. Have a great show. Listen, Dan, tell me, there's so many great things to see in this city. I made a list. Listen to this. The Liberty Bell, Independence National Historical Park, the Betsy Ross House, Eastern State Penitentiary, of course, Alfred's Alley, Carpenter's Hall. I mean, there are so many great things to do in Philly. Listen, Dan, we need to pick up tourism.
And you know what? The other night we were in this little hole-in-the-wall restaurant that you took me to the other night. And the best – you would have never told just by looking at it from the street what great food they had to offer and service.
Philly has great restaurants, Dan. You know what I mean?
Right there in the Italian market.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Philly has great restaurants. It really does. I mean, listen, the social life, the nightlife, Philly is special. What we really need to do, and I'm asking Sherelle Parker, is to go on some kind of campaign. You know, you used to see on TV commercials, come to this city, come to this city. Why aren't we running commercials anymore? You need to come to Philly. We're 60 miles away from the shore, for God's sakes. A great destination with the casinos and the beaches and the great restaurants there. Are we remiss in promoting and marketing the city, Dan?
You know who was the greatest promoter of Philadelphia? Former governor and mayor of Philadelphia, Ed Rendell.
Yes.
Former Pennsylvania governor and mayor of Philadelphia, Ed Rendell. He loved this city. That guy ate, breathed, and drank Philadelphia.
Yep.
He's the one. When I first moved to Philadelphia, come 5 o'clock, all these iron grates would come down and all the shops would close.
Yep.
And there would be no one in Center City because the crime was so rampant. Ed Rendell wanted to change that. And he came up with a program called Make It a Night Out, Come Back to Center
Wednesday
City,
night, right?
You know, right, on Wednesday nights. And little by little, suddenly now Philadelphia has a nightlife where people are going to restaurants and the nightclubs and just enjoying the beauty of Philadelphia. And that was Ed Rendell. He's the one that started. He loved Philadelphia. He promoted Philadelphia. He tried everything he could to revitalize the city and bring it to what it is today. And so we have him to thank for, a great leader with a great vision for our city. I remember even before he became mayor, he was just like somebody out there, and they sent me out to interview Ed Rendell. He was like some consultant or something like that. He wasn't even the mayor yet. He had been the district attorney for Philadelphia for a while, and now he was just a consultant. And I interviewed him, and I heard his voice, what he was talking about in Philadelphia. He had some great ideas. And I said, you know what? You should run for mayor. I think you would be great. And he started laughing.
Yep.
I had no idea that maybe he's going to do that someday. And he did. And I'm glad he won. He was a great mayor.
Yes, he was. He did a great job. Listen, let's take a break. We have a special guy, our friend, probably from the hospital beds on the line. But you have been listening to the Pat Callahan Show, sitting in for Pat, Uncle Barry, my special guest, Dan Quire, who I love to talk, and Philly loves hearing from. We will see you on the other side of the break.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts. Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture. Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Yes, indeed. Are we back? Yes, I'm back. Barry Sable sitting in for Pat Callahan, my special guest. All fired up, Dan Quelliar. Dan, I want you to know, I'm sitting here looking at the sporting events that are coming to Philly in 2026. MLB All-Star Game, FLFA World Cup, NCAA Men's March Madness, and PGA Championship. Yo, Dan, pretty good stuff. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. And don't forget, next year is the 250th anniversary of the founding of America, the birth of America. And a lot of that celebration is going to happen right here in our very city of Philadelphia. Why? Because this is where it was born. This is where the Declaration of Independence was written and signed. And never forget those famous words that Benjamin Franklin said when they came out of that meeting and they signed this Constitution, right? And somebody asked him, what do we have? And Ben Franklin said, a republic, if you can keep it. And we're still in that fight to this very day. And that's why it's important for us to this day to stand up and defend our Constitution, defend the people. I can't believe, you're getting me started here. We had a congresswoman from Illinois saying in Mexico at some kind of a event down there, this Democratic representative, Delia Ramirez, she's told these foreign Latinos in Mexico, I'm a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, of course.
What the hell are you doing here? And you're a member of Congress to boot, and your allegiance is first to Guatemala, where your parents came from, and not the United States of America? What business do you have in Congress? You should be booted out. And if you love Guatemala so much, why don't you just go there instead? We have a lot of these people like this.
I'll pack them up with you. Let's do it.
You know what I'm talking about? And this guy Mandami running for mayor in New York City, and the people in Minnesota, the same thing. Their allegiance is to other countries, but they trash America. What are they doing here, Barry?
Cruising 92.1. Steve DiOrio is on the line. Help me, Steve DiOrio, with your friend. Energize this guy, please.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Two of my most favorite voices on the airway. Barry from a business point of view, and Dan is the king of all media in Philadelphia. Guys,
I tried.
As you mentioned earlier, I had a rough couple weeks. I found out yesterday in the hospital.
You're
that I
a
had
lightweight.
diverticulosis.
You're a lightweight.
Yeah, well, guess what? I put up with pain. They said, "How did you even survive? You should have been dead because I let it go so long." But I was taking prune juice, doing everything I could. Then all of a sudden, I find that I got kidney stones on top of that. I've been fighting that.
Wow.
So I haven't been on the air for 2 weeks. But I guess what, guys? First, I have to give a shout out to the late great, beautiful Whitney Houston. It's her birthday today.
Wow.
What a beautiful talent, whether it was acting or singing.
Yeah.
And she was, a Jersey girl.
And she was great. She gone too soon. You know, I did an interview with Eric Allen, and I talked about some of the ball players. I made him tear up, and gone too soon. And she and Michael Jackson, they're not replaceable. You can't replace those people. They're irreplaceable. Right or wrong, Dan?
I'll tell you what, guys. When Whitney Houston sang our national anthem, and during that Super Bowl, we were in the middle of a war in the Middle East, and I was covering that war. And I remember being there with the troops when she sang the Star Spangled Banner. Oh my God!
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. There were tears in some of the soldiers' eyes. And these are brave souls, by the way, risking their own lives for our country. Yeah. But Whitney Houston just blew everybody away with that rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Wouldn't you agree, guys?
Yeah,
and I was in the Middle East with the troops. I don't know where you guys were during that Super Bowl, but I'll never forget that.
Of course not. Listen, Steve, you know I always ask the line, what unnerves you? What from a hospital bed is unnerving you today in America? I know you're a big Constitution guy. You're a big patriot. You're loyal. You do so many wonderful things for the community. What in the heck between Crockett, she's a piece of work, like Dan said, this guy running for mayor of New York. I mean, are we losing ground, or what do we have to do to recapture the moments that made us so successful?
Well, I can tell you right now, it goes back to about 30 years when we actually had Democrat Congress people who loved the flag, loved the country. People like Bob Brady from Philadelphia, Rob Andrews from South Jersey. I could go on and on. Jim Florio, who was in Congress way before governor. And they've lost their mission. Their mission is to represent the working class. Now the Republicans represent the working class. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of the negativity. You know, the news should be required for every 5 minutes of death, violence, and stabbings and carjackings should have 5 minutes of
positive
peace and prosperity.
Yes.
I'm going to ask your listeners, bless your food with words and appreciate everything that God has given to you. Because guess what? You take life for granted. We had a young guy, a young kid, 3 years old, just died last week.
Oh, boy.
He passed peacefully, and I'm not sure, Barry, if you're familiar with it. His name is Nico Jackson. He had a health issue, and unfortunately he passed. And we moved mountains. I got a phone call the day before 4th of July that the FDA was dragging their feet on passing this new under right to try, Donald Trump, this medicine up in a pharmaceutical in Boston to get to them. I pick up the phone. I call Democrats and Republicans, people like Herb Conaway, who's a Democrat congressman from Jersey, Jeff Van Drew, state reps, and all of a sudden, day before 4th of July, one of the biggest holidays, they're calling me back. They're trying to save lives. Everybody's blowing up Dr. McCarry's line with the FDA. And guess what? 7 o'clock that night, we found out it was approved after weeks and weeks of dragging the approval. Unfortunately, Nico didn't survive, so God bless Clarence and Alex, the parents, and his sister.
Well, I have to tell you something, Dan, and you'll attest to this. Pennies in action, Usli Kessler, as you know, she is a big proponent with this Dr. Sinicki. We're pushing hard to get this into the right hands because he is been involved in research of breast cancer. And he has come up basically with a cure where you don't have to have a mastectomy, where you don't have to have chemo anymore. It's all done through shots. We're pushing hard for this. and I know you two guys attend every single function and play a major role. It is about time that people take notice of what's going on in regards to cancer. We're losing too many people. Right or wrong, Dan?
Absolutely right. And this therapy is called dendritic cell immunotherapy, where they use your own body's cells, reprogram them, because the problem is that cancer is so insidious and is so evasive that your body doesn't recognize it as an enemy. So it leaves it alone to propagate and build and build and build. And before you know it, you have this tumor, this mass. But what Dr. Sinicki and his team do is they reprogram those cells and say, no, you see this? This is an enemy. You need to go back in there and fight it.
Yep.
And they put the cells back in your body, and now it's going after cancer. And now it's going after these problems that used to be like ghosts in your body, and they didn't know, the cells wouldn't attack them, but now they do. And we have people, like, correct me if I'm mistaken, Steve, Marie Gallo, since, 2012, and she's living cancer-free, never had a problem, right?
Yeah, Melissa from Nicholas from up to Boston, the Florida area. She's a survivor. She attended her daughter's wedding Thursday. If she didn't have this immunorestoration therapy through Dr. Sinicki, she'd have been dead. Hey, guys, I got to say this, though. Cancer, everybody has cancer cells in them. Everybody has parasites. The way, if you want to live beyond your average life expectancy, you got to cut carbs, cut sugary drinks, cookies, candy, cake, by at least 75.
That's what my whole diet, for God's sakes.
Well, Barry, guess what? If you want to live to 92 and a half, you got to.
The way things are going, I don't know if I want to live that long, but I'm trying to trim down for you boys. I want you to know I lost 4 or 5 pounds. Next weekend, I'm going to the Dominican Republic for a week. I got to escape this nonsense. Politically, I'm drained. I'm sure you feel the same way, Dan.
Well, I tell you what, Barry, everyone needs a break. And by the way, Steve, man cannot live on bread alone, okay? So, yeah, I'll lay off the sweets. I'll lay off the snacks during the week. But come the weekend, I want to see some snacks.
Yeah, tasty cake. I live on tasty cakes.
Right.
Yeah, the Oreos, this health freak
You can't argue
nut.
with tasty cakes. Hey, guys, you know what? Let me say something. As you both know, I've been on the air since 2010. My brother got really sick, had an aneurysm. He was doing a show, Gardening in the Garden State, all about nature and plants, things indigenous to the Delaware Valley. His wife asked me to do his show that Saturday while we were at Jefferson Hospital. And I started out 3 or 4 weeks talking about plants and animals. A guy calls in, hey, Steve, what do you think about Obamacare? Changed my whole outlook towards talk radio. And I was thrust into it. And after reporting the Obama years with Obamacare and all its ilk and all the nonsense that goes on in corruption, now we had the 4 years of Biden. I'm sick and tired of talking about negatively relaying these truths about our federal government that the media likes to filter. So I'm going to focus a lot on health and fitness on my show starting next week and really teach people you can fix this. You can fix the parasites all through things that you don't have to get a prescription for. Big Pharma wants a continuing revolving door of sick people. And Barry and Dan, obviously, thanks for everything you're doing to help these women with breast cancer.
Yes.
We're going, and with Kurt Weldon's help, we're going to get into the research of lung cancer for first responders, especially firefighters. So the future is very bright.
Yep. But I got to tell you something, though. We switched gears here from the goodness of Philly now to health. I'm going to take you back, Dan, for three minutes before we take a break. I'm sick and tired of what I'm hearing, the negativity about this government, and it's all true. And if that's the case, from Obama down, I want all these people held accountable. The American public has to be held accountable to hear what these people have done. Because if not, Dan, it's going to happen again, over and over and over. The corruption, like Steve mentioned, is terrible. Tell me.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something. Trump finally put some real people in under his administration doing the job that needs to be done. And last night or this week, we heard the Justice Department is now has impaneled a grand jury to investigate Tish James, the Attorney General of New York,
what
who,
a
by
disgrace.
the way, campaigned and ran for office. If you elect me, she said, I will go after Trump.
For mortgage fraud.
Now the tables have turned.
Yes.
And listen to this. This is the most hilarious part part of the whole thing. Her attorney, Ab Lowell, told the New York Times that an investigation into the civil fraud case is the most blatant and desperate example of this administration. He says weaponizing the Department of Justice to try to punish an elected official for doing her job is an attack on the rule of law. Cue the laughter, guys. Cue the laughter. Isn't that what she did against Trump?
Of course.
I mean, come on. She ran her campaign on saying, I'll go after Trump, elect me. And now she's complaining that they're going after her for the same thing she did? Come on, give me a break.
15 seconds, Steve Dior, before I leave you go. We're up against the break. Go ahead, comment.
I'm proud to be your friends, gentlemen. We love our listeners for the WPHT audience. What a great audience and what great station programming that they provide throughout the week. But one little tip, you got to pay attention. Remember, these Democrats in office, they voted against the Lake and Riley Act. They voted against protecting women in sports. And they voted against the big, beautiful bill, which isn't perfect, but it's going to create, they were going to push $4 trillion in new tax revenues on the average American citizen because they didn't want to extend Trump's tax cuts. So, guys, we got a lot to be thankful for. Let's keep an eye on Donald Trump. He's a winner.
Steve Dior, get healthy so we could sit in the studio. The three of us, we had such a good time last Christmas. I want to do it again.
Yes, we did.
Listen, thanks for calling in. We are up against the break. You are listening to the Pat Callahan Show. Uncle Barry sitting in for Pat. We'll see you on the other side of it.
This special alert is for all Americans who own a vehicle. If you have a warranty that's about to expire or no warranty coverage at all, this message is for you. It's time to stop worrying about future car repairs today. Your vehicle is essential, but unexpected breakdowns can derail your plans and your wallet. It's time to future-proof your ride with CarShield. CarShield offers a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that saves drivers thousands from out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Imagine if your engine quits or your transmission fails. You could pay a fraction of the repair cost. This protection plan is at an all-time low, and to give you even more peace of mind, drivers who activate today also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Don't wait for a breakdown to drain your savings. Future-proof your car with CarShield today and drive with confidence. Call CarShield for your free quick quote. Call 800-220-6409. That's 800-220-6409. What do you have to lose? Call 800-220-6409. 800-220-6409. Again, 800-220-6409.
The headlines about Social Security are scary. What do you do if they cut back? Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and almost 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. And if you think this is just a cosmetic problem, think again. Varicose or spider veins, if left untreated, can lead to swollen or discolored legs, cramping, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, even worse, blood clots, which can travel to other parts of your body. But here's the good news. Advanced Medical Vein Treatment Centers offers plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-587-1274. That's 800-587-1274. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your vein problems will not go away on their own, and in time can lead to major health issues. Call Advanced Medical Vein today for free information on fast and easy solutions that are covered by most insurance plans, Medicare included. Call 800-587-1274. That's 800-587-1274 today.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? What? Do it today at 1210 WPHT.
Indeedy, we are back. Am I correct? We're back, sir? Yes, we are. Barry Sable sitting in for Pat Callahan, my special guest, who I love talking to. You make the time fly by. Dan Quellar, some guy, Steve DiUrio, isn't he?
Yes, he is, Barry. I want to bring something to your attention. I saw this chart on X the other day. It was the percentage of 30-year-olds who are both married and homeowners. In the 1950s, over 50% of 30-year-olds were both married and were homeowners. In 2020, that fell to under 15%. And now it's a mere 12% of 30-year-olds who are both married and homeowners. Yep. You know, and we laugh at people like Mandami, but they're not actively fixing the problem that is driving people to him, Barry, and that's affordable housing. I mean, they need to address that. I know Trump is trying to do his part, trying to lower interest rates so people can afford to buy homes, et cetera. But this is why there's so many of these young people that are attracted to people like Mandami in New York, because they can't afford to live in New York.
Yep. Listen, we have so many things that are going on in this country. You and I could sit in studio for hours and hours. But before the day is over, I really have to tell you, as you know, I went to the Hall of Fame induction.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this last weekend. Yes, my friend who has
What
been.
was that like, Barry? I've never been to a Hall of Fame. What was that like?
Well, let me tell you, I'm not going to. We don't have a lot of time. We've got about 7 minutes
give
left.
Us some highlights.
Let me tell you
highlights.
that first of all, traveling today is an abomination. I have to tell you, the day I was supposed to take off on Thursday. I'm going to do this rapid fire. The flight's at 4:15. It was delayed a half hour. We get on the plane. We leave the terminal. We're away from the terminal. Pilot says we have another 15 minutes before we take off. Okay, no big deal. 15 minutes later, we're taking off 20 minutes later. 20 minutes later, we're taking off a half hour later. Inclement weather, go back to the terminal. Now, what am I going to do? Stay in the airport all night? I go home. Now, take this. My bag is on the plane. So now I'm ready. I'm secured a flight for the next day. My bag is on the plane that ends up taking off 2-3 hours later. I'm saying to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do? My bag's going to go around in the carousel. You know someone's going to steal it. But that was funny. Fly into Cleveland, an hour away, Hall of Fame. I get to the dinner, which started at 5 o'clock. I get there at 9 o'clock. And I sneak in. You know, Uncle Barry has an uncanny way of getting into cracks that nobody else gets into. I sneak behind the stage. I have a ticket to get in, and I'm yelling to Eric Allen, filming him, filming his family. I was so proud of my friend, EA number 21. Hall of Fame was incredible. The next day, they had a parade. I couldn't get up that early because his boys had me up late at night. I missed the parade, which was no big deal. There was like 200,000 people there. And I went to the Hall of Fame induction. And who do I see? All my guys. Chris Carter, Seth Joyner, Clyde Simmons, Keith Byers, Keith Jackson. Talked to Chris Berman, ESPN. Saw Chris Carter. I guess I mentioned that. Yuki Washington flew out for the day. It was incredible to see my friend get a gold jacket. Yo, Dan, how many times does somebody know somebody that it gets inducted into the Hall of Fame of baseball or football was a special
Well,
day?
Barry, not many, but you met a lot of these athletes when you were in the diamond business, selling diamonds for when they were getting engaged or getting married, and so you got to meet a lot of these guys. So you were privileged in a way that you met so many of them over the years, over the course of your career as a jeweler, and that is a high privilege that you were able to go to Eric Allen's induction into the Hall of Fame
as an
invitee. Had to be special.
Yep.
Yes,
as an invitee.
Yes.
And let me tell you, Marcus Allen ran into him. Tim Brown ran into him. How about talking to Harold Carmichael for 15 minutes? What a legend in Philly. So I have to tell you, listen, as a journalist, these things are commonplace to you. I get it. But for a guy like me and the public, It was unbelievable to see people of the past, see people that have touched your lives in such a way. It was really exciting. And frankly, I can't wait for something like that to happen again. I don't care what it costs. I'm on a plane. I'm going, Dan.
You know what's crazy? When I was in the news business and I had the opportunity or the privilege to interview somebody famous, my focus was on the story and getting the interview. And it wouldn't hit me till later and after the person had gone. I said, gee, I should have gotten a photograph with them. And I didn't start thinking about these kind of things. I remember meeting Lucille Ball. And that was my late wife's favorite actresses, Lucille Ball with the I Love Lucy show. And she's sitting there, and I'm interviewing her in the conference room. I was in Houston at the time at KHOU, the CBS station. And I'm interviewing her, and I'm just like, it's nothing, just interviewing the person. And my wife was so upset with me that I didn't at the very least get her autograph or anything like that.
Well, Dan, let me tell you what I would do. When these guys came in, not only did I get a picture, I would pull out a piece of stationery, a Sable Diamond stationery, and I made all of them write me a note. To this day, Jerome Brown, the Will Smith, the Charles Barclays, and all those guys, I have notes from these guys of saying whatever they want. You should see the crazy things they said to me. Those things are special. I agree with you. Can you imagine a picture with Lucille Ball and a note from her? Oh, my God. Crazy
the
times,
problem
no?
was I was a young cub reporter, and my mind was on focused on the interview and getting it right and getting it on the air. And
you did.
It wasn't until I started getting older that I started being cognizant of these things that, hey, maybe I should get a picture with this person.
Yes. Yes. Listen, we have.
What a ride, Barry.
We have
What a
roughly,
ride.
we have 20 seconds to wrap up. Give me your last thoughts about Philly. Where are we going? What do we have to look forward to?
I'm really excited about the Philadelphia Phillies, but I'm also excited about our Eagles. They look pretty good in their debut. We have Tanner McKee now as a backup quarterback. He looked really impressive out there. And I just think that, I hope these guys don't trade him because we need him.
Yeah.
We need the number 2 quarterback more than you need any kind of draft picks. So I'd like to see us get back to the Super Bowl, and I think we're looking pretty good. We need to fix our defense. We got some problems on the defense. But I think once we do that, I think we've got a good shot at going back to the Super Bowl, Barry.
I want to thank Dan Cuellar, my special guest. You're the best, Dan. I no longer listen to what people say, Dan Cuellar. I just watch what they do. Behavior never lies. You make this hour fly by. Grateful to you, Philly. Sitting in for Pat Callahan, I want to thank Pat. I want to leave you with this thought that I do on Sunday. Don't let anyone break your spirit. Keep moving your life forward, and you live your life as you please. I will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock, the Barry Sable Show with friends. I appreciate you, Delaware Valley and Philly. Thanks for listening today.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.